Vorlag Vo, we are defined by the stone, the rock. It is our fortress, our memory, our curse. For 10,000 years, the sentinels of the rock have lived in the shadow of that name and in the shadow of the one who gave it meaning. The air in my private sanctum aboard the Vigilant Rock is cold. It is a manufactured cold, sharp, and sterile, designed to mimic the hollow chill of Caliban's lost monasteries. Here there is only the scent of ozone from the data slate illuminators and the ancient dry perfume of sanctified incense. My gauntlets rest on the stone prayer rail. They are scarred, the ceramite chipped from 1,000 campaigns, yet they look small before the icon. It is not a picked capture. It is a relief carved into 10-meter-high black marble. The face is an artist's idealized rendering, cold and perfect. The jaw is square, the eyes devoid of pupils, staring into a future only he could see. Lionel Johnson, the first, the Primarch, our father who art absent, Vorlag Vo. We speak his name not as a summons, but as a judgment upon those who broke his heart, and in doing so shattered our legion. We, his sons, inherited that judgment. We are the vessels of his vengeance. I trace the inlay of the winged sword on the rail. The liturgy scrolls across a flickering green screen to my left, but I do not need it. The words are carved onto my soul, Vorlag whispering a rough gravel sound. From the darkness of Caliban he was raised. By the light of the Emperor he was anointed. He was the lion, the first son, the unyielding. His word was iron, his gaze the edge of the blade. He hunted the beast, he tamed the untamable. He purged the shadow, Vorlag Vo. But the shadow endured. The chaplains teach us he was the perfect shield, the Emperor's Praetorian. His honor was his armor, his vigilance his sword. They teach us that his sacrifice, his final silent sleep, was earned in the ultimate betrayal. And so our long vigil began, a 10,000-year hunt to cleanse the stain, to earn back the honor they stole. The fallen, a chime soft and insistent. I ignore it. My gaze remains fixed on the marble eyes of my progenitor. Vorlag Vo, the lion we worship, is an idea. He is a perfect martyred ideal forged in stained glass and sacred oils. He is the patron saint of our obsession. He is the glorious excuse for the hatred that fuels our engines and guides our bolt rounds. We have sacrificed worlds to corner a single one of them. We have burned cities to hear a single confession, because they are the living proof of our failure, the breathing sin of Caliban. The chime sounds again, a Vox signal request. Vorlag without turning speak. Chaplain Uriel OS filtered Tinny Chapter Master. The augurs are confirmed. The target is layered 5 clicks north of the primary array. He is fortified. Vorlag Vo. The stone is cold, but the galaxy is fire. I turn from the icon, the cold marble of the Primarch's face vanishing as the heavy adamantium door slides open. The air that hits me is different. It is the recycled, oil-heavy breath of a warship. I stride through the cloister, my heavy boots echoing on the deck. My brothers, the warriors of the First Company, rise from their own meditations as I pass. They do not speak. They move, collecting their helms, checking the seals on their armor. We are a machine of ritual. Vorlag Vo, this world. Xylos 9. It is a fetid swamp of decay. The briefing picts showed a jungle that had swallowed a civilization. A green grave. The air is a soup of spores and screams too thick to breathe without filters. It smells of rot and primal fear. It is a microcosm of the Imperium itself, a dying garden choked by its own weeds. I enter the humming light of the teleportarium chamber. The tech priests are already chanting their binary prayers, their robes stained with sacred oils. My Terminator squad stands arrayed. They are giants in bone-white armor, icons of death. Vorlag Vo and the weeds are here. The anathema in brethren, the fallen, my brothers, the sentinels of the rock. They see this hunt as a holy sacrament, a path to redemption. They chant the litanies of absolution as they purge. They see the lion as a vengeful saint watching from the Emperor's side. Interrogator Chaplain Uriel is there, his black armor adorned with skulls and purity seals. His Crozius is alight, its power field thrumming. His face is hidden behind a skull helm, but I know his expression. Righteous, absolute hatred. Uriel, we bring the lion's judgment, Lord Vorlag. We shall grant him the Emperor's mercy. Vorlag securing his own helm. His voice becomes a metallic rasp. We bring an end. That is all. Vorlag VO, I am their chapter master. I am the vessel of that 10 millennia-old vow. I recite the catechisms. I lead the prayers. I order the exterminations. I am the pinnacle of our order, tempered by hatred, sharpened by dogma, bound by rituals so ancient their original meaning is dust. I am a fortress of faith, built upon the foundation of a single betrayal. The air begins to shimmer, the scent of ozone overpowering the incense. The machine spirit whines to a crescendo. Vorlag VO. But in the quiet hours in the void between stars, the doubt. No, not doubt. The weariness. The lion, the myth is clean. He is a perfect story. This jungle, this endless hunt, it is filth. We are defined by the stone, but we must live in the mud. We hunt the ghosts of our own family because we are terrified of what they represent. That the line between loyalty and heresy is a razor's edge. That we too could have fallen. The teleport flare engulfs us, a blinding flash of white-blue energy. Vorlag VO. Today the mud has delivered unto us another ghost, another of the fallen, and we will be his absolution. We will be his end. It is our duty. It is our only purpose. For the lion, for the Emperor, the sensation of displacement hits, a feeling of being torn apart and rebuilt atom by atom. We arrive. The cold, sterile air of the vigilant rock vanishes, replaced by a wall of heat. The stench is overwhelming. Mildew, alien pollen, and the copper-sharp tang of blood. The jungle of Xylos Nime is deafening. The clicks of unseen insects, the screams of distant fauna. Bioluminescent fungi cast a sickly green-purple light over everything. We stand in a clearing of sucking mud surrounded by colossal trees whose roots are thick as promethium barrels. Before us is a ruined Imperial outpost, its walls swallowed by the jungle. Bolter fire echoes from within. Vorlag to his squad combat formation. Uriel, you have the right flank. Purge the shadows. The target is ours. Vorlag VO. The lion of the stained glass windows is not here. There are no saints in this morass. There is only the hunt and the fallen. There is nothing else. Vorlag over the command box, his voice a cold, monotone perimeter established. Malachy status. Where is the primary target? The clearing is a sinkhole of iridescent mud. My Terminators form a perfect circle, their storm bolters scanning the colossal, fungus-encrusted trees. The air whines with alien insects. Librarian Malachy, his blue armor stark against the jungle's green, steps into the center. His force hood is active, a psychic nimbus crackling around his helmet. Malachy the Spore is potent, chapter, master, concentrated. He is deep within the primary structure, the old Maglev station. He is agitated, but there is no fear. His mind feels like burning ice, a paradox. Chaplain Uriel, his voice a zealous rasp. It feels like heresy librarian, a sin 10 millennia old. It awaits purification. It awaits our judgment. Uriel's black armor is a mobile shrine of death. A skull helm hides his features, and his Crozius Arcanum hums with disruptive energy. Vorlag Interrogator, your zeal is noted. Malachy defenses. Malachy minimal. Automated sentry systems, but they are ancient patterns, degraded. He is not alone. I sense others. Perhaps a dozen. Their minds are fainter but disciplined. They are guarding him. Uriel, then we shall offer them the same absolution. By bolt and by chainsword their penance will be paid. Vorlag correct. Squad Ultimus, you have the breach. Squads Viridian and Mortis flanking patterns. Scan for secondary egress points. Uriel, you are with me. We will be the tip of the spear. We seek one soul. The others are merely kindling for his pyre. Forward for the lion. All vox for the lion. Vorlag Vo, we do not run. We advance. We are a wall of ceramite and righteousness, an inexorable tide. This is the rhythm of our long war, the catechism of the bolt gun. Each shell casing is a prayer. Each death a line in the book of our redemption. The automated turrets burst from the vines. They are heresy-era relics. They spit solid slugs loud and crude. The rounds spark and whine off our Terminator plate. We do not slow. Precise 3-round bursts from our storm bolters silence them. The weapons are shattered, their machine spirits given peace. The main gates of the station are a wall of rusted plasteel. Forelag breach. Squad Ultimus forms up. An assault cannon whines, shredding the metal. A melter charge vaporizes the lock. With a groan of tortured metal, the way is open. We enter the darkness. Our helm lenses switch to thermoptic. The air is thick with mildew and decay. Uriel whispering confess. A shadow moves. A human-shaped thing ragged wielding an autogun. A cultist perhaps, or a local corrupted by the fallen's presence. Uriel repent, confess your betrayal. Uriel is upon him before the man can scream. The Crozius rises and falls. The thrumming power field connects with the man's chest. There is no blood. Only a cauterized explosive decompression of flesh and bone. A wet crunch. Uriel atonement granted. Vorlag Vo. We fight with the cold, grinding certainty of inevitability. We are the cure for the sickness that afflicted our legion. We move through the corridors, a perfectly synchronized machine of death. My wrist-mounted bolter, the lion's roar, barks. A target in a high alcove disappears in a red mist. We reach the central concourse, and they are there. Not cultists, 6 of them. In power armor. It is ancient. Mark III and I-4 patterns patched with salvaged plasteel, painted in the midnight black of the First Legion. They stand over the bodies of my reconnaissance scouts, the ones who sent the initial signal. They raise their bolters. They fight with a desperate, practiced skill. They are Astartes. Uriel roaring, his voice breaking with hatred. Blasphemers! You wear the hallowed armor! You are not worthy of the lion's shadow! Die in your shame! Uriel charges. This is not sanitation. This is rage. He smashes a fallen to the ground, his Crozius shattering the warrior's helmet. The sentinels open fire. The air becomes a solid wall of explosive shells. The fallen are good, but they are outnumbered, outgunned. I advance my power fist, humming. One of them, wielding a chainsword, turns to meet me. He is fast. His blade scrapes sparks from my shoulder pauldron. I do not even flinch. I let his attack spend itself. He looks up, his helmet's red eye lenses widening slightly as he sees the size of my Terminator plate. Vorlag, your long flight is over. My fist closes. It punches through his chest plate as if it were paper. I lift him from the ground, his armor cracking and groaning. I stare into his dying eyes as I ignite the power field. He disintegrates in my grip. The battle is over in 40 seconds. The chamber is silent, save for the dripping water and the panting of our vox grills. Vorlag, it is done. Malachi numbered chapter master. Look, the librarian points with his force staff. Across the concourse is a single reinforced adamantium doorway. It is sealed. Malachi, the primary target. He is through there. He did not fight. He watched. I felt him observe the slaughter. Vorlag turning to the door. He has nowhere left to run. Interrogator. Prepare the rites of interrogation. Uriel cracks his knuckles, his black gauntlets slick with gore. Uriel with pleasure, chapter master. We will have his name, and then his soul. Vorlag Vo. We stand in the silence of the aftermath. The air is thick with the metallic tang of vaporized ceramite and the ozone stench of spent power cells. My Terminators secure the perimeter of the concourse, their heavy footsteps echoing in the cavernous, rotting station. I approach the nearest body. One of my sentinels turns the Astartes over with his boot. Vorlag hold. I kneel. My gauntleted fingers wipe the grime and blood from the warrior's chest plate. The armor is midnight black, but beneath the filth there is no corruption, no weeping sores of plague. No 8-pointed stars carved into the plate. No brass-bound icons of the blood god. Vorlag to Uriel, his voice quiet. Note the armor, Mark 30 iron pattern. The helmet, Mark 4 Maximus. Uriel scoffs, nudging the body with his own boot, relics of their shame. They cling to the past, afraid to show their true corrupted faces. It is meaningless. They are fallen. Vorlag, ignoring him, tracing a barely visible icon. The Legion symbol is here. The winged sword. It is not defaced. It is honored. I rise, moving to another body. This one's bolter is still clutched in its gauntlet. I prise the weapon free. It is a tigress pattern bolter, ancient, but the mechanism is clean. The oils are fresh. The ammunition clip is fully loaded. Vorlag, they were well supplied. Their war gear is maintained with diligence. Uriel, a mockery chapter master, a blasphemous parody of our own rituals. They polish their steel to hide the rust on their souls. Vorlag VO. He is wrong. I have hunted the fallen for 3 centuries. I have seen the rabid, the desperate, the utterly insane. I have seen those swollen with the gifts of the ruinous powers. They fight with wild abandon, screaming litanies to their dark gods. These fought with a cold precision. They died with a disciplined silence. They fought to delay us, not to defeat us. A holding action. I activate my command vox, switching to a private channel with the librarian. Vorlag Malachi, your assessment. You were quiet during the engagement. Librarian Malachi stands apart from the others, his force staff planted in the grime. His free hand is pressed to his temple, his blue armor a stark contrast to the oppressive gloom. Malako, his voice strained tight. Lord Vorlag, this is not what I expected. The taint of the arch-enemy is thin, almost non-existent on these bodies. Uriel, having overheard, he stalks over Librarian. Do not allow the warp to cloud your judgment. They are the anathema in brethren. Their very existence is heresy. Malachi, turning to Uriel, his voice dropping to a dangerous hiss, and you, interrogator, will not tell me my business. Your faith is a hammer. Mine must be a scalpel. I tell you what I feel. What I felt from them was not the fire of chaos. It was the chill of duty, a terrible, hollow duty. Vorlag, explained Malachi. Malachi turns his gaze from the bodies, looking past the shattered walls of the station, and into the impenetrable green darkness of the jungle beyond. Malachi the target, the one beyond the door. His mind is a fortress. I can feel him, waiting. But it is what is beyond him that chills me. Vorlag more fallen. Malachi, no. Something else. Something vast. Vorlag VO. The librarian's composure is cracking. I have seen Malachi face down greater demons without flinching. Now I see a tremor in his hand. Malachi chapter, Master in the Jungle. Out there is a presence, an intellect. It is colossal. It sleeps. Or, no, it is dormant, watching. It is ancient beyond measure. It feels like a mountain, like a sleeping star. The psychic weight of it. It is pressing down on this entire planet. Vorlag Chaos, a new player, a slumbering warp entity. Malachi shaking his head, his voice now barely a whisper. That is the terror of it, chapter master. It is not the warp. It feels clean. It is a psychic presence of pure, unadulterated order. A will of iron so potent and so old it feels terrifyingly serene. Like the silence of deep space. It is not chaos. It is something else. Something original. Vorlag the target in this room. Is he connected to it? Malachi, I do not know. But the presence, it is centered miles to the north. And it is aware of us. It has been aware of us since we made orbit. It is judging us. A heavy silence falls over the command squad. Even Uriel is quiet, his zealous certitude momentarily shaken by the librarian's genuine fear. Vorlag VO, a presence, not chaos, ancient order. A paradox that sets my teeth on edge. The neat, tidy lines of our crusade, the righteous hunt, they are beginning to blur. Vorlag switching back to the General Vox, all squads report. Voices OS, squad Ultimus secure. Squad Viridian secure. No other contacts. Vorlag staring at the adamantium door. Very well, the objective remains. This ghost will answer for his sins, and he will tell us what he knows of this presence. Squad Ultimus, prepare breaching charges. We are ending this. Maliki does not lower his staff. He continues to stare into the jungle as if expecting the trees themselves to rise up against them. Malaki to himself, so low only I can hear, it is not sleeping. It is waiting. Vorlag VO the door. It was not a hiding place. It was an invitation. The melter charges flash, turning the adamantium into slag. We pour through the breach into, not a room, but a tunnel. It is ancient pre-imperial, carved from the planet's black bedrock. It descends, leading away from the station and deep into the jungle's root system. Vorlag to his squad, the metallic rasp of his vox hiding any surprise he is luring us. He is testing us. Very well. Advance in tactical formation. Maliki, you are point. Warn us if that presence shifts. Maliki, it has not shifted, Chapter Master. It remains dormant, but it is amused. I feel amusement. Uriel, blasphemy. The warp lies. Press on. Let us find this cowering wretch and teach him the folly of his games. Vorlag VO. We move through the earth. The tunnel is damp, the air thick with the smell of wet stone and decay. It opens up not into a cave, but into the true jungle. A part of it I had not yet seen. If the area around the station was a swamp, this is a cathedral. The trees are 1,000 meters high, their canopy so dense it creates a perpetual twilit gloom. Light comes only from the phosphorescent moss, clinging to everything, casting the world in a sickly green and violet glow. The air is still. No insect sounds, no animal screams, only the drip of water and the heavy mechanical breathing of our armor. Malaki stopping, his force staff raised. They are here, above us. Vorlag VO. I look up. The branches are a latticework of shadows, thick as fortress walls. Nothing. Vorlag thermoptics, full scan. Our lenses cycle through spectrums, heat, motion, nothing. Malaki, they are shielded. No, they are simply cold, disciplined. Uriel looking up, Vox defiant. Show yourselves, cowards! Face the lion's wrath. The jungle explodes. It is not a wild charge. It is a calculated, brutal strike from all directions. 10 of them. Black-armored Astartes repelling from the canopy on silent grav shoots, while others rise from the fungal muck where they had lain in silent ambush. They do not scream. They do not chant. They fight. A bolt round fired from an ancient Hesh pattern rifle impacts my chest. It's a specialist round designed to penetrate. It finds a microfracture in my Terminator plate and explodes. Pain sharp and white-hot lances through my primary lung. I stumble. Vorlag coughing, blood-flecked spittle hitting the inside of his visor. Contact hexagrammaton pattern. They are using First Legion doctrine. 2 of them are on me at once. They move like wraiths, their combat knives finding the joints in my armor. They move in a firewing pattern, a swift decapitation strike aimed at the commander. They are not trying to kill my squad. They are trying to kill me. Uriel roaring a sound of pure zealotry. Heretics, you defile our sacred arts. Uriel's Crozius swings connecting with one of the black-armored Astartes. The warrior is fast, he drops under the swing his own blade, gutting one of Uriel's honor guard. They are good. 10,000 years good. Vorlag VO. This is not a brawl. It is a doctrinal execution. My sentinels are M41 warriors, brutal, direct, fueled by faith. These ghosts. They fight with the cold, lethal geometry of our origins. They use feints and parries we have only read about in the most archaic tactical scrolls. They are magnificent. And they are slaughtering my brothers. Vorlag ignoring the pain in his chest, solidify form. Iron shield, back to back. We slam together a fortress of bone-white ceramite. The black-armored warriors circle us, their movements fluid, predatory. They are testing our defenses, looking for the next crack. Their leader steps from the shadows. He is taller, His armor is Marker 4, but his helmet is a grim, knightly helm I recognize from the oldest tapestries on the rock. He wields no bolter, only a tyrannic greatsword, its blade dark and non-reflective. The leader. His voice is clear over our vox and unsecured channel. Calm, precise, yield. You are hunting shadows. Your mission is a lie. Uriel screaming, "Never we will cleanse your tainted blood from this very soil." Uriel breaks formation, charging the leader. It is exactly what the leader wants. The leader moves. He doesn't just block the Crozius. He sidesteps, uses the weapon's own momentum to pull Uriel off balance, and buries a combat knife in the joint of Uriel's elbow. The chaplain roars in pain, his Crozius arm going limp. Forlak bellowing, "No. I charge. I am a Terminator. I am not fast. I am inevitable." The leader turns to me, raising his greatsword. He is fast, but I am a walking tank. I smash his sword aside with my storm bolter. He parries my power fist with his vambrace, the energy field shorting out. He is strong, but I am stronger. I grab his sword arm with my power fist. The servos in my grip whine as I squeeze. I hear the crack of ceramite, then bone. He does not scream. He simply drops the sword. I backhand him with my other gauntlet. The blow sends him flying. He crashes against the base of a colossal fungal-encrusted tree, his armor groaning. He slumps, his helmet cracked, one red eye lens dark. The other black-clad warriors hesitate. Their leader is down. Vorlag walking towards him, my power fist humming, crackling with lethal energy. "Hold your fire! This one is mine!" I stand over him. He tries to rise. I plant my heavy boot on his chest, pinning him. I raise my power fist, the blue-white energy field illuminating the grim tableau. Uriel is clutching his arm, glaring. Maliki is scanning the trees, his staff crackling. The wounded warrior looks up at me. His vox crackles. The leader, "Do it. We do not surrender to the deluded. Vorlag, you will be interrogated. You will confess your 10,000-year betrayal. You will give me your name, and then I will give you the Emperor's peace." I lean in, my red eye lenses inches from his shattered helm. Vorlag, in the name of the lion whose memory you have spat upon, I will grant you the Emperor's grace. I draw back my fist for the final annihilating blow. My power fist is raised, humming with the promise of oblivion. The energy field casts a blue-white glare on the cracked helm of the fallen warrior pinned beneath my boot. He stares up at me, defiant to the last. I am the executioner. I am the hand of the lion. I am the judgment of 10,000 years. I begin the swing. Stop. The word is not on the vox. It is not a sound that enters my ears. It detonates inside my skull. It is not a request. It is a command layered with such absolute, primordial authority that my transhuman nervous system obeys before my mind can even process the sound. My arm freezes in midair. The power fist hums immobile. My entire body locks, every enhanced muscle fiber screaming in protest, as it is held immobile by a will that is not my own. Vorlag Vio, what is this warpcraft? Malaki gasping over the private vox, a sound of pure terror. No, it's... From the deepest gloom, from a shadow cast by a truly monolithic tree, a shape detaches itself. It was not there a second ago. My thermoptics saw nothing. My auspex was clear, but it is here now. It is a footfall, a single soft, deliberate tread. The sound is not loud, but it is heavy. The mud and fungal rot compress under a weight my mind cannot fathom. A figure steps into the pale green-violet light. My mind stalls. The data feed from my helmet optics must be corrupt. I am looking at an impossibility. He is a giant. He towers over my Terminator armor. He is to me what I am to a baseline human. His armor is ancient, a pattern I have seen only in the most sacred archives, a hybrid of unification and Great Crusade plate. It is painted a deep, lustrous black, scarred and battered by millennia, but trimmed in the dark forest green of Caliban's deepest woods. Upon his pauldron is the symbol, the original, the winged sword of the First Legion, and then the pressure hits. It is not a psychic assault. It is not the clawing, chaotic touch of the warp. It is a physical weight. The air in the clearing becomes thick, oppressive, a crushing blanket of pure presence. My suit's diagnostic runes flash in my vision. Atmospheric pressure stable, gravity stable. And yet I feel as if I am at the bottom of an ocean. My dual hearts engineered for relentless war stutter. My lungs fight for air that is suddenly too thin. It is not fear, it is awe. It is the instinctual primal terror of a creature suddenly finding itself in the presence of its apex predator. Its creator. I hear a clang of metal on stone. To my left, Terminator Viridian has dropped his Stormbolter. His arms are locked at his sides. I see in my peripheral vision the others. Frozen. Paralyzed. Not by any visible force, but by the sheer crushing authority that radiates from this being. Uriel the Interrogator Chaplain is shaking. His good arm strains to lift his bolt pistol, but the weapon will not rise. His skull helm is pointed at the newcomer, a statue of impotent, disbelieving rage. Librarian Malachi is on his knees. His force staff lies discarded in the mud. He has his hands clasped to his helm, his blue armor shuddering. Malachi, a broken whisper, vox static hissing. It cannot be. It is the aura, pure. It's him. It's him. The giant stops. He stands not 10 meters from me. His own helmet is a masterpiece of the Dark Age, a knightly helm of green and black, its visor a single impassive T-slit. I feel his gaze through the metal. It is not anger. It is not hatred. It is assessment. A cold, weary appraisal like a master craftsman inspecting a broken tool. Slowly his gauntleted hands rise. A hiss of decompressing seals, a sound that cuts through the jungle's silence like a blade. He removes the helmet. My mind, my soul breaks. It is the face. Not the idealized, serene, beatific face from the marble icons in my sanctum. This is not the face of a stained glass saint. This face is real. It is savage. It is weathered. The skin is pale, the features sharp and noble, but etched with a profound, terrifying weariness. The jaw is square, the lips thin. The hair is long, matted and graying, falling past his shoulders. And the eyes. They are a pale, piercing green. They are the eyes of a deep forest predator. They are the eyes of a king. They are the eyes of a slumbering god, and they are awake. They burn with a cold, 10,000-year-old fire. Lionel Johnson. The pressure intensifies. My knee joints powered by adamantium and synth muscle buckle. My armor's systems scream as they fight my own body's insatiable, overriding command to kneel. The lion does not look at me. Not yet. His gaze drops to the wounded fallen warrior pinned by my boot. The warrior, this heretic I was about to execute, stares up at the lion. His one good arm trembles as he tries to make the sign of the Aquila. Then the lion looks at me. His green eyes lock onto my red optic lenses. The disappointment in them is a physical blow. He speaks. The voice is the same thunder that stopped my hand, but now it is audible, a deep, resonant baritone that vibrates the very air around us. Lionel Johnson, you are hunting my son's descendant. Vorlag Vo. My mind is a shattered mirror, reflecting a dozen impossible realities. The pressure, the aura of him. It is a physical weight holding my armor, my body, my very will in stasis. My power fist remains raised, a monument to an execution I was not allowed to complete. You are hunting my son's descendant. The words echo. My sons. Not the fallen, not the betrayers. My sons. The first to break the paralysis is not a warrior. It is a fanatic. Interrogator Chaplain Uriel is on his knees, not in reverence, but from the spiritual shock. His good hand trembles, his skull helm jerking from the paralyzed fallen warrior to the impossible giant. His breathing is a ragged, wet gasp over the vox. Uriel, a choked whisper. No, he forces himself to move. It is an act of pure, agonizing defiance. I can hear the servos in his armor whine, straining against the unseen weight of the Primarch's presence. Uriel screaming, his voice cracking with absolute, terrified hatred. It is a lie. A deception, an abomination of the warp. His good arm, the one not stabbed by the fallen, swings up. He is raising his bolt pistol. Uriel sentinels, in the name of the Emperor, in the name of the true lion fire, purge this thing. Uriel fires. The bolt round an explosive shell capable of shattering plasteel streaks across the clearing. It flies true, aimed directly at the unhelmeted face of Lion L. Johnson. It never reaches him. The shell hits the air 3 inches from his cheek. It detonates, but the explosion is muffled as if smothered by a blanket. The shrapnel and flame flare outwards harmlessly. The lion does not move. He does not blink. His green eyes remain fixed on Uriel, and the disappointment in them deepens into a cold disgust. Uriel, incoherent with rage, he empties his clip. A stream of bolts. This time the lion acts. His left hand, his bare, gauntleted hand, moves in a blur. It is not a block. It is a swat. A casual, contemptuous gesture. He slaps the remaining explosive shells out of the air, deflecting them into the mud and the trees, where they detonate in harmless flashes of light. The speed is impossible, a movement faster than my targeting augers can track. Lion L. Johnson. His voice is low, a rumble of disgust. This is what 10,000 years has made of you. Children, screaming at shadows. He advances, 2 steps. Each footfall is the sound of a fortress gate closing. Uriel, his pistol clicking empty, roars and lunges his broken arm, useless, trying to attack with his one good fist. The lion moves. It is a flash of black and green. His hand closes over Uriel's bolt pistol, and the sound of cracking metal and bone is sickeningly loud. He rips the weapon from the chaplain's grip. Uriel screams in pain. The lion turns to me. He is inside my guard before I can even process the thought to move. My power fist is still raised, a useless, charged threat. He ignores it. His cold green eyes drop to my hip. To the blade of the rock, my badge of office as Chapter. Master a power sword of immense antiquity, and power a relic of the Legion. My hand spasms instinctively, trying to reach for it. Too late. He isn't even looking at me. His hand in a blur shoots out. He doesn't draw the blade. He rips the entire scabbard from the magnetic locks on my Terminator plate. The shriek of tortured metal echoes in the clearing. I am staggered back, my armor's gyroscope screaming. He holds my sword. He holds my authority. He holds it aloft, the blade, humming its power field, crackling to life in his grasp. Lion L. Johnson, a master's blade. He looks from the sword to me. His eyes are dead ancient. Lion L. Johnson, wielded by a zealot. You have mistaken your rituals for purpose. And then, with a simple, contemptuous motion, he places the center of the blade over his knee. Crack! The sound is not loud, but it is the loudest thing I have ever heard. The sound of 10,000 years of tradition snapping. The adamantium weave blade, a relic that had tasted the blood of demon kings, breaks. The power field dies with a pathetic hiss. He drops the 2 broken pieces of my sword into the sucking mud at my feet. He has disarmed the 2 of us, the chapter master and the interrogator chaplain, in less than 3 seconds. My power fist is still raised. I look at it. It is no longer a weapon. It is a symbol of my complete and utter impotence. Vorlag VO. The silence in the clearing is a vacuum. The pieces of my broken sword lie in the mud, a testament to my shattered authority. My power fist is still raised, frozen, a parody of judgment. Uriel is on his knees, panting, cradling his crushed hand, his skull helm fixed on the giant with an expression of pure animal terror. The impossible is. The giant looks from the broken steel to my face. His green eyes are not just eyes. They are annals. They are the collected history of a legion, and they are filled with a chilling, profound disappointment. Lion L. Johnson, you have forgotten the face of your father. He does not shout. He does not need to. The words resonate in our armor, in our bones. He is speaking to all of us. Lion L. Johnson. You fight for a memory you no longer understand. You hunt your own blood in the name of rituals you have invented. You have become this. His voice is laced with a disgust so deep it is almost physical. He turns his gaze, sweeping it over my frozen Terminators. Lionel Johnson, I am Lionel Johnson, Primarch of the 1st Legion. Your gene, sire. Vorlag Vio, the words, the fact. It hits my squad like a shockwave. Terminator Viridian, the closest to me, makes a sound. A choked, mechanical sob. His Stormbolter clatters from his grasp. And then, with a sound of grinding ceramite and protesting servos, he collapses onto his knees. His massive bone-white form bows, his helmet touching the fungal rot, his hands splayed open in the mud. It is not an act of fealty. It is an act of total systemic failure. To my right, another brother, Tacit. He stumbles backward 1 step 2. He brings his gauntlets up to his helmet, gripping it. Tacit, his voice a strangled static over the vox negative. Negative. Logic. Logic contradiction. Does not compute. The saint. The Primarch. He sleeps. He waits. He cannot be... Tacit falls to his knees, but not in worship. He is shaking his armor, shuddering violently. His mind, indoctrinated by 10 millennia of dogma, is shattering against the wall of this impossible, savage reality. Even the fallen warrior beneath my boot, the man I was about to kill, has a reaction. His breathing is ragged. He stares up at the lion, and his one good hand trembles. Fallen leader. A whisper. He has returned. The long night is Vorlag Vio. My gaze turns slowly, agonizingly, to the only one who can confirm it. Librarian Malachi. He is still on his knees, his force staff lying beside him. His head is bowed, his helmet pointed to the earth. Vorlag. My voice is a rasp I do not recognize. A private channel. Malachi. Report. What? Is this... Malachi slowly lifts his head. Even through the blue helmet I can feel his terror and his absolute certainty. Malachi. His voice is hollow, stripped of all artifice. It is him, chapter master. As I live. It is him. Malachi, he looks up at the lion, his voice breaking. The aura. The presence I felt in the jungle. It wasn't chaos, it wasn't a daemon. It was him. The signature. It is the uncorrupted primary source. The root of our gene seed. It is pure Lord Vorlag. But by the throne, it is so cold, so ancient, so furious. Vorlag Vio furious. Yes, that is the word. This is not the benevolent shepherd from the litanies. This is not the returning savior. The lion we worshipped was a martyr. The lion standing before us is a predator. His eyes, those terrible green eyes, sweep the clearing. They rest on Viridian kneeling in supplication. They rest on Tacit shivering and broken. They rest on Uriel, who is now just whispering, "No, no, no," like a child. He sees the wounded fallen warrior, and for a fleeting second I see something like pity. And then his gaze returns to me. He stands there, a wild, dangerous king returned to a house he no longer recognizes, finding it infested with strangers wearing his livery. There is no warmth of reunion. There is no recognition. There is only the cold, sharp assessment of a hunter, judging a new, strange beast. He is weighing me. My armor, my frozen stance, my failed execution. Vorlag Vio. In that moment I am found wanting. My chapter master. Vorlag am nothing but a relic of an age he does not know, professing a faith he does not share. His gaze drops to my raised, humming power fist. A faint, almost imperceptible sneer crosses his lips. Lionel Johnson, put it down. You look like a fool. The authority in his voice is a key. The paralysis breaks. My arm, my suit's primary weapon, my symbol of strength, it drops. The power fist thuds into the mud with a wet, pathetic thump. The energy field dies. I am disarmed. I am shamed. I am a child before my progenitor. Vorlag Vio. I am still standing over the wounded warrior. My boot is still on his chest. My power fist is lowered, but the weight of my sin is now in my leg, pressing this man, this Astartes, into the mud. The lion looks at my boot. He doesn't speak. He just looks. A silent, cold command. With a groan of servos that sounds like a confession, I retract my leg. I step back. The weight of 10,000 years of hatred feels suddenly childish, obscene. The wounded warrior, the one I was about to execute, gasps for air. He rolls slightly, his one good arm trying to push himself up. Instantly, two of the other black-armored warriors, his warriors, move from the shadows. My sentinels tense, their storm bolters rising instinctively. Lionel Johnson to my men stand down. It is the voice of a glacier grinding stone. My sentinels freeze their weapons half raised. The black-armored Astartes move past us, ignoring us completely, as if we are nothing but furniture. They kneel by their leader, checking his wounds, their movements efficient, practiced. Vorlag, my voice is a rasp of static, my throat dry. My lord, these are the fallen, the traitors. They, Lionel Johnson cutting me off, his voice like a whip crack, they are not. He turns to face me fully. His size is oppressive. His reality is a denial of everything I am. Lionel Johnson, you call them the fallen, a name given by ignorant children passed down through generations of the same. They are the risen. Vorlag Vo risen. The word is a blasphemy. It implies redemption, forgiveness. Our entire doctrine is built on the foundation that they are unforgivable, that our purpose is to hunt them until the stars grow cold. Uriel staggering to his feet, his voice a shriek of broken faith. Never, Lord, if you are truly him, you above all must know their sin. They are the spawn of Luther. They are the rot of Caliban. They are the betrayal. The lion's head snaps to Uriel. The cold assessment in his eyes is replaced by a flash of something else. An ancient, terrifying anger, so cold it burns. Lionel Johnson, the betrayal. He steps towards Uriel. The interrogator chaplain, for all his zealotry, stumbles back, his black armor scraping against a tree. Lionel Johnson, you speak to me of betrayal. You who wear skulls and chant litanies like a tribal shaman. You who have let this Imperium, my father's Imperium, decay into a superstitious corpse. You who just tried to execute my son and then fired upon your Primarch. He leans down, his unhelmeted face inches from Uriel's skull helm. Lionel Johnson, your rituals are a hollow echo. Your faith is a shield for your ignorance. You hunt these men who have fought the true archenemy in the dark for 10 millennia, while the great game continues, and you are nothing but pawns. He straightens, dismissing Uriel as if he were an insect. His gaze falls heavy back to me. Lionel Johnson, your hunt is over, Chapter Master Vorlag. Vorlag Vo. The words. An execution order for the soul of the sentinels of the rock. If the hunt is over, what are we? What is our purpose? What am I? Lionel Johnson, a new war has begun. My war. Your millennia of childish vengeance are finished. Your service begins. Your duty is no longer to your imagined past. Your duty is to me. Vorlag Vo, I stand at the breaking point of history. To my right is Uriel clutching his broken arm, his faith shattered. He is the voice of the rock. The voice of 10,000 years of righteous absolute certainty. The doctrine I have lived. The dogma I have enforced. He is the past. Vorlag Vo, and before me, is the present. The source, the lion. He is not a beatific saint. He is not the face on the stained glass. He is a terrifying, pragmatic, real king. And he has just declared my entire life's work a childish game. Vorlag, the words taste like acid. They are the hardest I have ever spoken. Our oaths are to the Emperor, to hunt the traitor, to redeem the honor of the first. Lionel Johnson, and I am telling you who the traitor is. It is not these men. He gestures to the wounded warrior now being helped to his feet. The risen leader, his helmet off, is a man of ancient, noble features, pale and sweating, but his eyes are loyal. Lionel Johnson, the galaxy is on fire, descendant. The warp has split the stars. The true enemy, the gods of chaos and their slaves, are winning. And you are here in the mud hunting ghosts. He turns his back on me, a gesture of complete, crushing dismissal. He walks to the wounded, risen leader, Zahar, Lionel Johnson. His voice is different. Still hard, but the contempt is gone. It is the voice of a commander to his veteran. You held them, Zaha. The risen Zaha coughs blood on his lips. He struggles to stand straight. Zaha, his voice a pained rasp. My lord, we did, as you commanded. We stopped them. We heard them coming. So loud. Lionel Johnson nodding once, a gesture of approval. Your watch is over. Rest, you will be healed. Vorlag Vio. He spoke to the heretic with a familiarity he did not show me. The traitor was given comfort. I, the loyal son, was given contempt. The galaxy had inverted. My vow, what was my vow? Was it to the dogma, or was it to him? Vorlag Vio, I had my answer, and it terrified me. I force my armor, my body to stand at perfect attention. The sound of the grinding servos is a sound of surrender. Vorlag, my voice is hollow, stripped. My lord, Lion, what are your orders? Vorlag Vio. The teleport flare faded, leaving the acrid scent of ozone in its wake. We were back. We were in the stratagium of the Vigilant Rock, home. It did not feel like home. It felt like a tomb. The chamber was dark, built of the same black stone as my sanctum. Hololiths flickered, casting a dead green light. And there, looming over the central tactical table, was the statue. Not a carving, but a true-scale effigy of the lion, cast in bronze, asleep on his throne of stone. The lion of our faith, the martyr, the saint. It looked small, a false idol. There was a heavy metallic clang. Librarian Malachi had unsealed and dropped his helmet onto the table. Then another clang as Captain Boreas, leader of my Terminator Honor Guard, did the same. A thud as Uriel, his face pale and slick with sweat, threw his skull helm down with his one good hand. I unsealed my own. The recycled air of the ship felt stale, suffocating after the savage, real air of the jungle. For a full minute we just stood there. 4 Astartes leaders of our chapter breathing the same air, yet worlds apart. Uriel broke the silence. He was cradling his crushed, bleeding hand to his chest, his black armor stained with his own blood. Uriel, his voice was not a roar. It was a low, shaking, venomous hiss. A lie. Boreas, a warrior of hard-bitten practicality, merely grunted. Lord, what we saw. Uriel spinning on him, his eyes wild. A lie, Captain. A puppet. A construct of the darkest warp craft, sent by the arch-enemy to break us. Malachi quietly not looking up from his hands. It was not warpcraft interrogator. Uriel stalking over to the librarian. Do not speak. You are compromised. Your senses were the first to be deceived. It feels like order. You said it feels clean. What is Tzanch, the architect of fate? If not the illusion of order, he has woven a spell so potent it has poisoned your mind, and through you, our lord. Malachi looking up, his eyes bloodshot, the psychic strain visible on his face. What I felt was not illusion, Uriel. It was Genesis. It was the root. I have felt the touch of demons, and it is a tearing, chaotic scream. This was the opposite. It was a mountain. It was the cold, perfect certainty of our own gene seed. My senses are not deceived. They are terrified. Uriel scoffing, a wet, ugly sound, terrified. Yes, as you should be. You stared into the abyss, and it stared back. That thing used the fallen Malachi as its protectors. It broke our chapter master's holy blade. It mocks our rituals, it mocks our faith. Uriel turned to me, his one good hand imploring. Uriel, my lord Vorlag, you must see. This is the great test. 10,000 years we have hunted the shadows. Now the shadows hunt us. They have forged a mockery of our father to make us kneel. We must answer with fire. We must call down the orbital lancers. We must purge that impostor and the traitors he consorts with. Captain Boreas shifted the heavy ceramite of his armor, groaning. Boreas, chapter master, my men, the ones who were there. Tacid is broken. He is in the Apothecarian, screaming about the eyes. Viridian is in the Reclusium, flagellating himself, chanting the litany of the false Primarch. The rest, they are silent. They are awaiting orders. But Lord, they do not know who to obey. Vorlag Vio. There it was. The schism. Uriel, the voice of our unbending blind faith. Malachi, the voice of our terrifying logical reality. And Boreas, the voice of the chapter itself, confused and breaking. I looked at the statue. The sleeping king. Vorlag Vio. For 10,000 years we have served the idea of this man. And the idea was easy. It was perfect. It was a stone that never changed. I turned from the statue to face my officers. My hand instinctively went to my hip where my sword should have been. The phantom limb of my authority. Vorlag, my voice cut through the room. Cold and absolute silence. Uriel's mouth snapped shut. Malachi looked up. Vorlag Uriel, you see a test of faith. You would have me bombard a being that could be our father. You would risk the greatest sin, patricide, on the basis of your dogma. I turned to Malak. Vorlag and you see a reality that frightens you. You tell me it is him, but a him we do not know. A lion that is not the saint of the lectern. A feral, cold thing. I walked to the table, placing my gauntlets on the hololithic display of the planet Xylos 9. I looked at the red icon marking the jungle, the place we had just fled. Vorlag, we cannot fight like this. We are a broken sword. Uriel's faith is a hammer striking at phantoms. Malachi's senses are a compass spinning wildly. Boreas, your men are the result. A chapter divided against itself. Vorlag Vio, I cannot command from doubt. I cannot lead from faith. I must lead from certainty. Vorlag, I will not order an orbital strike on a whim, Uriel, and I will not pledge my chapter to a shadow Malachi. There is only one way to break this paralysis. I looked at all of them one by one. Vorlag, I will return. I will go to him. Not as a warrior, not as a zealot, as a chapter master. Uriel, horrified lord, it is a trap, he will die. Vorlag, he disarmed me, Uriel. He disarmed you. He held my entire honor guard in paralysis with his will. If he wanted us dead, we would be dead. He is waiting. He is judging. I turned and began to walk from the room, my cloak sweeping behind me. Vorlag, he broke my blade. I will go and see if he intends to offer me a new one. I will go, alone. Vorlag Vio. The teleportarium chamber on the Vigilant Rock was silent. Uriel had pleaded. Malachi had watched his face a mask of dread. I gave the order. The final coordinates were not a guess. They were an invitation. I felt them in my mind, a cold, precise point in the jungle. A summons. The flare of displacement consumed me. I went alone. No honor guard, no chaplain. My armor was my only companion. My broken sword remained on the rock. I went to my Primarch as he had left me disarmed. The air that reformed around me was not the sterile chill of my ship. It was the thick, living breath of the jungle. Wood smoke, damp earth, and the scent of oiled metal. I stood on the edge of a clearing. It was a natural hollow protected by the giant moss-covered trees. This was no makeshift camp. It was a lair, and it was full of them. The Risen. They were everywhere, perched on the high roots, cleaning their weapons by the light of bioluminescent fungi, sharpening blades. They moved with a quiet, lethal economy. There was no chanting, no litanies, no skulls adorned their armor. Their plate was ancient, a legion of ghosts. Mark the Second Revive, a living history of the Great Crusade, all painted in the dull, pragmatic black of the original legion. The only insignia was the winged sword worn not with pride, but with a simple, grim matter-of-factness. Vorlag Vio. My sentinels are a fortress. We are stone and ritual. We purify the ground we walk on. We anoint our armor in sacred oils and chant the catechisms of war. We are loud in our faith. Vorlag Vio. These brothers were a whisper. They were the shadows my chapter had been hunting. They were silent. They did not pray to icons. They did not seem to pray at all. They just prepared. Their faith was not in a distant emperor or a martyred saint. It was in the edge of their knives and the power packs of their bolters. They all stopped when I arrived. Every red eye lens in the clearing turned to me. My bone-white Terminator armor was a beacon in their gloom, a stark, arrogant intrusion. They did not raise their weapons. They did not need to. They simply watched, and in their gaze I saw it. I saw what they thought of me. It was not hatred. It was a cold, profound, 10,000-year-old contempt, Vorlag VO. To them, I am the heretic. I am the deluded child dressed in the gaudy robes of a faith they never knew. I am the living symbol of the Imperium that forgot them, that forgot him. I am the stray son who returned to the house screaming at the true-born who had never left. I began to walk. My every footstep was a thunderclap in their silence. The thud and whine of my Terminator armor's servos felt obscene clumsy. I walked through their camp past warriors whose faces I had been trained to despise. They moved aside, not with deference, but as one would step aside for a large, dumb animal. I was in the lion's den, and I was completely, utterly alone. At the center of the clearing was a fire, a real burning wooden fire. The heat from it was primal raw, and he was there. He was sitting on a fallen log, his back partially to me. His massive black and green armor was still on. His helmet was off. He was not looking at me. He was not looking at anything. He was working. In his lap he held a sword. It was not the elegant power blade of a chapter master. It was a weapon. A colossal two-handed great sword, its blade as wide as my forearm. It was dark, unadorned steel. He was sharpening it. His gauntleted hands held a whetstone, and with slow, rhythmic, powerful strokes, he drew it down the length of the blade. Shing! The sound cut through the silence of the clearing. Shing! It was a cold, patient, inevitable sound. The sound of a tool being prepared for its purpose. Shing! Vorlag VO. He knows I am here. He has known since I materialized. He does not turn. He does not acknowledge me. He is not a king holding court. He is a hunter, and he is making me wait. I stopped. 10 paces from his back. I stood there, a chapter master of the Adeptus Astartes, a lord of the Imperium, standing in the mud like a novice. The silence stretched. It became a weight as heavy as his aura. There was only the crackle of the fire, the distant alien sounds of the jungle, and that noise. Shing! He was teaching me. He was stripping away my titles, my rituals, my 10,000 years of history with every pass of the stone. Shing, he was showing me what was real. Not the icons, not the prayers, not the martyred saint, only the man, the fire, and the blade. Shing, I waited. Vorlag VO. I stood in the mud. The silence in the clearing was a living thing. It was a suffocating pressure heavier than his aura. The only sound was the shing of the whetstone on steel. A sound of judgment. A sound of preparation. The Risen watched me. Their red lenses were a dozen points of accusation in the gloom. I was a relic on display, a failure being audited. Shing! My armor's reactor hummed a sound that felt profane in its mundanity. I was a chapter master. I commanded a battle barge, thousands of warriors, the power of life and death over worlds. Here, I was a novice. I was a child. Shing. He did not turn. He did not acknowledge my presence. He was teaching me my first lesson in his new war. I was not important. My titles were not important. My arrival was on his terms, not mine. Finally, the sound stopped. The silence that followed was absolute. He rested the massive greatsword across his knees. He stared into the flames, his profile carved from shadow and firelight. His pale, savage face was unreadable. Lionel Johnson. His voice was quiet, a rumble in the dark, not looking at me. Why? Vorlag VO. The word was a chasm. I did not understand the question. Vorlag, my lord. Lionel Johnson. He turned his head slowly. His green eyes burning with the fire's reflection pinned me. A galaxy burns. My father's Imperium rots from the inside out, besieged by the gods of chaos, by the Xenos, by its own decay. And I wake to find you, my descendants, here, in this fetid jungle on a world of no consequence. He paused, his gaze hardening. Lionel Johnson, why do you hunt your brothers? Vorlag VO. Here it was. The question. The test. All the dogma of my life, all the teachings of Uriel, all the litanies of the rock surged to my lips. I stood straight, my Terminator armor groaning a fortress of faith. Vorlag, my voice was hard certain. The voice of a chapter master. Because it is our sacred duty. It is the vow of the rock. It is the long hunt. Lionel Johnson. His lip twitched. A sneer. Duty, vow, hunt, words. Vorlag stepping forward. My zeal rising, my voice resonating with righteous power. They are more than words, my lord. They are our purpose. We are the sentinels. We are the unforgiven. We are the blade of your vengeance. We hunt the anathema in brethren. Lionel Johnson quietly the fallen. Vorlag. For their sin. For the betrayal of Luther. For the burning of Caliban. They are the stain on our legion's honor. A stain we have sworn 10,000 years to cleanse. We do this in your name. We do this for the emperors. We bring them to the blade and the torch so that their confessions may earn them peace and our legion redemption. I was breathing heavily. The creed had been spoken. My truth, the truth of my entire chapter laid bare at his feet. There was a long silence. The lion just looked at me. He was not angry. He was something else, something worse. He was disappointed, and then a sound. A low chuckle. It was the most terrifying sound I had ever heard. It was the sound of a predator, dry and humorless. Lionel Johnson redemption, honor. He placed his whetstone on the log. With a sound of servos far more powerful than my own, a sound of ancient forbidden technology, he stood, and he loomed. He was a mountain of black and green, his presence extinguishing the fire's warmth. He took one step, and I had to fight the instinct to step back. Lionel Johnson. His voice was now a low, contained, furious hiss. You speak of honor. You who dress in bone white like some tribal death cult. You who adorn your armor with trinkets and chant rhymes to keep the dark away. You who would have executed my son without trial. Vorlag, he is a traitor. Our oaths. Lionel Johnson, he was now inches from my face. I had to crane my neck up to meet his gaze. Your oaths are meaningless. Vorlag VO. The words hit me like a physical blow. Lionel Johnson. I see a chapter. No. A legion that has forgotten its purpose. You are not warriors. You are curators. You are priests of a museum of your own failure. You are obsessed with a secret so old the rest of the galaxy has forgotten it. And you. Vorlag choking the betrayal. Lionel Johnson, he roared. It was not a sound of rage. It was a sound of power. A tidal wave of absolute command that rattled my armor. The betrayal is a galaxy on fire. He turned, stalking away, his massive cloak sweeping in the mud. He pointed with his great sword, not at me, but at the jungle, at the sky. Lionel Johnson, the arch-enemy, the true enemy, is winning. The Imperium is split in two. The warp bleeds across the stars. And you are here. You have wasted 10,000 years. 10,000 years on a childish, petulant vendetta. He spun back to me, his eyes burning with a cold, pragmatic fire. Lionel Johnson Caliban is dust. Luther is my burden to bear. Your long hunt is a distraction. You have been chasing the symptoms of a plague while the plague itself consumes the body. You have been fighting a war that ended 10 millennia ago because you are cowards afraid to fight the one that is in front of you. Vorlag VO, I was empty. He had not just disarmed me. He had unmade me. Every vow, every battle, every drop of blood shed in the name of the hunt was a waste. Childish vendetta. Vorlag, the words were a whisper. All the power, all the righteousness was gone. My voice was hollow. Then what is our purpose? The lion stared at me, his gaze weighing my broken, hollowed-out soul. He sheathed his great sword. The sound was a heavy, final thud. Lionel Johnson, you have no purpose. Your purpose is dead. He looked me up and down. Lionel Johnson, but I will give you a new one. Vorlag VO. My purpose was dead. My faith was a museum. My 10,000-year hunt, a coward's distraction. I stood hollowed out a suit of armor with nothing inside before the being I was born to worship. The lion turned from me, his back a mountain of black ceramite. He looked up through the impossibly dense canopy as if he could see the stars themselves. Lionel Johnson, you are here, Chapter Master, because your senses are dull. You have been looking at the ground for so long, you have forgotten the sky. Vorlag confused hollow, my lord. Lionel Johnson, he pointed up your ship. The Vigilant Rock. Its augurs are state-of-the-art M41 technology, are they not? Vorlag, they are, my lord. The finest machine spirits in the segmentum. Lionel Johnson, they are blind. They are deafened by your prayers. While you were scanning this world for a single desperate soul, an armada has been gathering. Vorlag VO. A cold dread of feeling I hadn't felt since my aspirant days flooded my system. A dread of the unknown. Vorlag an armada senos. Lionel Johnson. He spat the word, his voice filled with an ancient pure hatred. Worse, the zealots. Lorga's spawn. He turned to face me. The firelight cast flickering monstrous shadows across his savage face. Lionel Johnson, a full battle fleet of the Word-Bearers is concealed in the outer corona of this system's star. They have been here for weeks, masked by a veil of warpcraft. They are not hiding from you. They were waiting. Vorlag stunned Word-Bearers. Here why for what? Lionel Johnson. He gestured to the jungle around them. For this. This planet is not some random ball of mud descendant. It is a nexus, an ancient place. The Word-Bearers are not warriors. They are priests. They are here to conduct a ritual. They intend to use this world as an anchor to summon a tide of filth that will engulf this entire sector. Vorlag VO. It all clicked. The Risen. The Lion. They weren't hiding. They were guarding. Vorlag, you are here to stop them. Lionel Johnson, I am here to stop them. My Risen are few and they are weary. Your arrival in your blind, obsessive rage was an unfortunate but useful coincidence. He stepped close again. The cold, pragmatic general was back. The philosopher was gone. Lionel Johnson, your purpose is dead. I will give you a new one. Here are your orders. He held up one gauntleted finger. Lionel Johnson, 1. You will return to your ship. You will tell your men the long hunt is over. He raised a second finger. Lionel Johnson, 2. Your chapter will deploy in its entirety to the coordinates I will provide. You will form a battle line with my Risen. You will stand beside them. You will guard their flanks. You will take commands from me. Vorlag VO. My mind reeled. To fight alongside the fallen, to place my sentinels, my pure chapter, next to the unforgiven Uriel, would sooner die. Half my chapter would. Vorlag, the words were a choke. My lord, to fight. With them. They are... Lionel Johnson. His voice was a razor's edge. They are my sons. As are you. You will learn to be brothers, or you will die as fools. He raised a third final finger. The most impossible command of all. Lionel Johnson 3, you will silence your rituals. There will be no chanting, no litanies of absolution, no anointing of armor. Your interrogator chaplain will hold his tongue, or I will remove it. You are not here to pray. You are here to fight. You will win this battle with steel and tactics, not with superstition. Vorlag VO. He was ordering me to abandon the very soul of my chapter, to cast aside 10,000 years of faith, of ritual, of the very things that made us sentinels. He was asking me to go to war, not just against the Word-Bearers, but against my own identity. Vorlag VO. I looked at him. The lion. My father. My Primarch. His eyes were not cruel. They were absolute. He was not asking. He was not negotiating. He was commanding. Vorlag VO. And in that moment, the gene seed, the ancient core programming buried beneath millennia of dogma, answered. Vorlag VO. It was not a choice. It was a biological, spiritual imperative. To obey the Primarch. It was the highest, most absolute law. More than the chapter. More than the edicts. More than the faith. Vorlag VO. It was a victory, and it felt like a damnation. I did not kneel. I did not bow. I did not make the sign of the Aquila. Slowly, with a groan of protesting servos, I raised my right power fist and slammed it against my chest plate. The salutaries of the First Legion. A gesture I had only seen in ancient Picts. An echo of a loyalty I had never known I possessed. My voice was hollow, broken, but it was for the first time the voice of a soldier, not a priest. "Vorlagget will be done, my lord." The lion just nodded. Once, no praise, no warmth. "Lionel Johnson, good. Go. The attack is at dawn. You have wasted enough of my time." He turned his back on me, returning to the fire, his great sword in his hand. The audience was over. Vorlag VO. The stratagium on the Vigilant Rock had never been so full, or so divided. It was a sea of opposing colors. My honor guard in their bone-white Terminator plate stood ramrod straight against the walls, their faces grim. My captains and sergeants in the dark green of our chapter were clustered on one side of the hololith. On the other side were the Risen. They had teleported aboard at the Lion's command. Zaha, their leader, was among them. His wounds had been crudely but effectively cauterized. They wore their ancient scarred black armor as if it were a second skin. They stood apart, their arms crossed, their unhelmeted faces etched with a weariness that made my veterans look like aspirants. And at the head of the table, where the statue of the sleeping lion had once stood, I had ordered it removed, was the lion himself, in the flesh. He was unhelmeted, his green eyes scanning the tactical display, ignoring the impossible, suffocating tension in my command center. "Lionel Johnson," his voice cut through the silence. "The Word-Bearer's primary assault will be here, at the Nexus Shrine. They believe we are ignorant of their presence. They believe this world is undefended. They are arrogant. We will use that." He pointed a gauntleted finger at the hololith. "Lionel Johnson, Vorlag. Your Terminators will form the core of the line, a castraferum. They will be the anvil." Vorlag nodding the motion stiff, my lord. "It will be done. Lionel Johnson." His gaze shifted to the Risen Zaha. "Your men are the blade. You will deploy in the high canopy in shadow form. When my signal is given, you will strike their command structure. Their dark apostles, their sorcerers, a decapitation." Zaha, the Risen commander, simply nodded once. "No, my lord. No honorific. Just acceptance." "Zaha, we know the tactic. Vorlag VO." My men shifted. The air crackled. The tension was not just ideological, it was personal. Captain Boreas, my first captain, spoke, his voice a low growl. "Boreas, chapter master, my lord Lion, deploying our Terminators in a static line is inefficient. Our doctrine calls for a teleport strike directly into the heart of the enemy. The scythe of the Lion." Before the Lion could answer, Zaha laughed. It was a dry, rasping, mirthless sound. Zaha, looking at Boreas with pity, "Scythe of the Lion. You speak of tactics you do not understand. You would teleport your divine selves into the middle of a word-bearer summoning circle. You would be annihilated by warp fire before your storm bolters even charged." He turned to the Lion. "Zaha, my lord, these children, they are too loud. Their faith is a liability. They will compromise our ambush." Interrogator Chaplain Uriel, his arm in a crude sling, his face pale with fury, stepped forward. Uriel, his voice shaking with contained rage. "You dare! You who—" Lionel Johnson, without looking up from the map, silence. The word was not loud, but it was absolute. Uriel choked on his fury, his mouth snapping shut. "Lionel Johnson to Zaha. The children will hold the line. That is their purpose. To Boreas, your doctrine is based on faulty assumptions. You will hold the line, or you will be broken upon it. I do not care which." Vorlag VO. He dismissed both sides with equal contempt. He was not here to unite us. He was here to use us. The briefing ended. The Risen filed out silent as shadows. My officers remained. As the last of the black-armored warriors passed, a junior chaplain from my command squad, Brother Cassiel, stepped forward. He was young, his zeal still bright. He held a small vial of sacred oil. "Cassiel, to one of the departing Risen, brother, let me anoint your blade. Let us ask the Emperor's blessing upon." The Risen warrior stopped. He was a veteran, his face a roadmap of scars, one eye a milky orb. He looked at the vial of oil. Then he looked at the young chaplain. Risen veteran. His voice was soft cold. He's not listening, boy. Cassiel confused. The Emperor he protects. Risen veteran. He violently backhanded the vial from Cassiel's hand. It shattered against the bulkhead, the sacred oil dripping uselessly down the wall. No, he's not listening. He jabbed a black gauntleted thumb back towards the command deck where the lion remained. Risen veteran, the Primarch. He doesn't care for your oils. He doesn't care for your prayers. He doesn't care for your souls. He cares for this. He drew his combat knife. The blade was plain grey steel, not a single prayer parchment, not a single engraved litany. Risen veteran. He cares for the steel and the blood. Keep your superstitions. I will keep my edge. He sheathed the blade and walked out, leaving Cassiel staring at the wasted oil, his faith trembling. Uriel watched the entire exchange, his face unreadable, his one good hand clenched so tightly his knuckles were as white as my armor. Vorlag Vio. This was not an alliance. It was a tinderbox. And the lion had just handed us the torch. Vorlag Vio. I stood in my private sanctum once more. The chamber was cold, but the cold, sterile comfort it once offered was gone. The black marble icon of the lion, the idealized saint, was still there. I stared at it. It was a lie. A beautiful, comforting 10,000-year-old lie. My armor was off. I was clad in a simple black duty robe. On the workbench before me was not a prayer book, but my wrist-mounted storm bolter, the lion's roar. I was stripping it, cleaning it, the smell of solvent and oil replacing the incense. I was preparing for war. The real war. The door to my sanctum hissed open without permission. I did not have to turn. The air became charged with a feverish, righteous anger. Vorlag, you are not welcome here, interrogator. Uriel stepped into the room. He was still in his black armor, his wounded arm in its sling, but his skull helm was off. His face was pale, his eyes burning with a zealot's fire. He looked like a man who had seen a vision. Uriel, and you are not welcome in that chair, Lord Vorlag. Not anymore. I slowly reassembled the bolt gun's mechanism. A precise click-clack. Vorlag, you are speaking treason, Uriel. Uriel! He laughed. A sharp, ugly bark. Treason, I speak of faith, I speak of salvation, while you have been charmed. He stalked the room, a caged animal. He gestured, his good hand pointing at the marble icon. Uriel, that is our father, the saint. The martyr who sleeps at the Emperor's side, the one who gives us our sacred purpose. Then he jabbed a trembling finger towards the bulkhead, towards the stratagium, where the real lion was. Uriel, that nothing out there, that is an imposter. I stopped my work. I turned slowly on my stool to face him. Vorlag Malaki has confirmed the aura. It is not of the warp. Uriel, scoffing his eyes wide, confirmed. The warp is the ocean of lies. Of course it feels pure. It is a deception of Tzeentch himself, a puppet of flesh and steel. So perfect it has fooled even our librarian. It is the ultimate test. Vorlag, a test. Uriel, he slammed his good fist on my workbench. Yes, do you not see it is a mirror? The archenemy has sent us a false father to test our true faith. And you, Vorlag, you have failed. He leaned in, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial, venomous hiss. Uriel, it broke your sword. It silenced our prayers. It commands us to fight alongside the anathema. It forces us to abandon the very rituals that protect our souls. This is not a Primarch, Vorlag. This is a daemon. And it is feasting on your apostasy. Vorlag Vio. I looked at him. Really looked at him. The fire in his eyes. The absolute unshakable certainty. The righteous hatred. I was looking at a mirror. I was looking at myself only yesterday. A man so trapped in the museum of his own faith that he would burn the masterpiece standing right in front of him. Vorlag. My voice was cold. Colder than the room. Colder than I had ever heard it. And what would you have me do, chaplain? Uriel, his face lit up with a terrible ecstatic light. We must act. We must save our chapter's soul. We must do what you no longer have the will to do. He paused, his voice dropping to the reverent tone of a priest pronouncing a sacred rite. "Uriel, we must purge them all, the Risen, the Lion, and if he stands with them, you." The threat hung in the air. The final broken vow. I stood up. My height in the simple robe was less than in my armor, but Uriel took an involuntary step back. "Vorlag, you have wasted 10,000 years on a vendetta chaplain." Uriel's face contorted in confusion. "Uriel, it is our—" "Vorlag," I adopted the lion's own tone, the cold, dismissive cadence of pure authority. "It is a childish obsession. You are a priest, Uriel, screaming at a shadow. You are afraid of the reality that our father is not a saint, but a general, and his orders are not suggestions. Uriel, you are lost. You are damned." Vorlag, I turned back to my workbench. I picked up the fully assembled storm bolter. I checked the action. Thud click. It was perfect. "No, I am found." I turned back to him, my eyes as cold as the steel in my hand. "Vorlag, you will go to your assigned post, Interrogator Chaplain Uriel. You will command your squad. You will hold your tongue. And you will obey my orders, which are his orders. That is my Farn quiet. That is my judgment." Uriel whispering, horrified. You sound like—" "Vorlag, I am your chapter master, and you are dismissed." Uriel stared at me for a long, terrible moment. He saw no doubt in my eyes, no conflict, only the cold, pragmatic steel of the lion. He saw that his Vorlag was truly gone. His face hardened. The fanaticism settled from a burning fire to a cold, hard ember. Uriel, softly may the Emperor and the true lion forgive you, Vorlag, for I see now, you are truly lost. He turned, and without another word he left my sanctum. Vorlag VO. I watched him go. He would not obey. He was a broken tool, a blade that would strike at my own back. I knew this. I did not pray for his soul. I did not pray for my own. I went to my Vox servitor. Vorlag to the servitor. Get me Captain Boreas. Private channel. Now. Vorlag VO. The true war had already begun. Vorlag VO Dawn. The jungle smelled wrong. The natural sense of rot and life were buried under a new stench. A coppery electric tang. The smell of the warp. We were in position. A 300-meter line in the mud centered on a crumbling pre-imperial stone nexus. My terminators were the center, the anvil. My sentinels, arrayed in their dark green plate, held the flanks. We were silent. No litanies, no prayers. The only sound was the thrum of our power packs and the nervous, wet breathing in our own helmets. The lion stood before us all. He was 20 paces ahead of the line, alone. His greatsword was planted in the mud before him. He was unhelmeted, his pale face turned towards the trees, his eyes closed. He looked calm, a slumbering predator. And in the trees, hidden in the high canopy, were the Risen. I could not see them. I could not hear them. But I could feel their disciplined patience. Then the jungle answered. It was not a roar. It was a chant, 1,000 voices speaking in unison, a dark, rhythmic, pounding prayer. Lorga, Lorga, Lorga. They came, a tide of crimson and defiled brass. The word-bearers. They flooded the clearing, their armor weeping blood, their bolters already firing. At their head was a dark apostle, his face a mask of ecstatic agony, his crozius wreathed in black fire. Dark apostle, his voice a vox-amplified scream, "Death to the false!" He stopped. He had seen the lion. His ecstatic expression froze, replaced by a momentary comical flicker of disbelief. Lionel Johnson. His voice was quiet, but it carried over the battlefield view. He pulled his sword from the mud. Lionel Johnson, you are not worthy of this world. He did not wait for my command. He did not wait for the charge. He became the charge. Vorlag VO. I have seen Astartes fight for 3 centuries. I have seen chapter masters duel demon princes. I had seen nothing. He did not run. He flowed. He moved with a speed that defied his size, a blur of green and black. He hit their line. It was not a battle. It was a harvest. His sword was not a blade. It was a force of nature. It scythed through 3 crimson-armored bodies in one swing. He kicked a second warrior, his boot caving in the word-bearer's chest plate. He grabbed another by the throat and tore his head from his shoulders. He was a demigod. He was a Primarch. He was furious. Vorlag roaring my own blood. Singing at the sight line, fire forward. My sentinels opened up. A wall of righteous bolt fire slammed into the word-bearer ranks. We were the anvil, and he was the hammer. Then the trees exploded. The Risen. Zahar's signal. They dropped from the canopy, a silent black rain of death landing behind the word-bearer front line, directly onto their command squad. It was a clinic, a doctrinal masterpiece. While my men were a wall of thunder, the Risen were 1,000 poisoned knives. They fought with a cold, terrifying precision, their bolters firing single precise shots. Their blades found armor joints, throats, eye lenses. They were slaughtering the word-bearer leadership before they even knew they were under attack. Vorlag VO. We were winning. We were more than a chapter. We were a legion. The bone white, the dark green, and the black fighting as one. The Dark Apostle saw it. He screamed in rage, realizing his trap had closed on him. He raised his own tainted Crozius, but not to fight. To pray. Dark Apostle screaming at the sky. Hear me, blood, for the... No master to me, I offer this battle, I offer their souls in Anis. Vorago, Aperiat. The sky tore open. It was not a clean tear. It was a bleeding, visceral wound in the fabric of reality. The light failed. The jungle was plunged into a swirling, non-Euclidean twilight. And from the wound it came. It was colossal. A thing of muscle and shadow brass and wings. A demon prince. It landed with a crash that shook the trees, its massive axe weeping pure energy. It ignored the battle. It ignored me. It saw only the lion. Daemon Prince, a roar that was a physical blow. Johnson. It charged. The lion turned to meet it, bracing himself. And in that moment, Zahar and his Risen, having butchered the Apostle's Guard, moved to intercept. They were protecting the lion's flank. They were the shield. That is when the second betrayal came. A new cry, not from the word-bearers, from my own line. Uriel Vox, a scream of pure, ecstatic faith. Now for the Emperor and the true lion, death to the impostor, death to the unforgiven sentinels. Purge. Vorlag VO time. Stopped, I turned. Chaplain Uriel. And his personal retinue. 20 warriors. Men I had fought beside for a century. They were not firing at the Demon Prince. They were not firing at the word-bearers. They had turned. They opened fire, a storm of bolt rounds at point-blank range into the backs of Zahar and the Risen, who were guarding the lion's flank. It was an execution. The Risen, caught between the word-bearers in front and us behind, were annihilated. Ceramite exploded. Black armored bodies were torn apart. I saw Zahar, his back peppered with holes, look over his shoulder, his eyes wide with a terrible final understanding before he collapsed. Vorlag VO. The flank was gone. The line was broken. The Demon Prince roared in triumph. The lion, who had half-turned at the sound of Uriel's treason, was now completely exposed. Word-bearers poured through the gap Uriel had created. My own sentinels, the main line, hesitated their voxnet, a screaming chaos of Uriel is a traitor and Uriel is loyal. They were frozen. The Demon Prince raised its axe. It brought it down, a blow meant to kill a god. The lion met the strike. The impact was a supernova, a flash of white and black energy that threw me from my feet. The lion, my father, was alone, surrounded by traitors, both his and mine. Vorlag VO. I hit the mud, the shockwave of the Primarch's parry rattling my armor to its core. My senses screamed. The Vox was a wall of static and terror. I pushed myself to my feet, my Terminator plate groaning. My tactical display flickered, then resolved. And I saw it. The breaking of the world. To my left, the impossible lion L. Johnson, a solitary island of black and green fighting a god. He was magnificent, his great sword a blur, meeting the Demon Prince's axe in a storm of parries that shattered the air. But he was alone, surrounded. To my right, the Chaos Word-bearers, a crimson tide pouring through the gap my men had created. They were flooding our flank, overwhelming my confused, leaderless sentinels. And in my center, the Cancer, Uriel. His skull helm was raised to the dark sky. In ecstasy, his crozius held high. He and his mutineers were a knot of betrayal, finishing the last of the wounded, risen their armor stained with the blood of allies. Boreas Vox, screaming over the chaos chapter. Master Lord orders, the line is broken. The demon, Uriel, orders. Vorlag VO. The choice. A perfect, terrible trinity of failure. The demon was the greatest threat. The word-bearers were the most numerous. But Uriel was the sin. He was the past. He was the disease that had weakened us, the blindness that had led us to this. He was the ghost I had been hunting all my life. I looked at the lion holding back a god. I looked at Uriel murdering a brother. The daemon was the enemy of the Imperium. Uriel was the enemy of the truth. Vorlag VO. I could not fight both. My dogma demanded I fight the demon. My father was fighting the demon. But my duty, my new terrible duty, was to purge the weakness from my own line. My power fist hummed, the weapon I had been denied. Now it had a purpose. I opened my command channel, not to the chapter, to my honor guard. The 10 Terminators still loyal, still with me. Vorlag, my voice was not a shout. It was a block of ice. Honor guard, with me. Boreas Vox, my lord, the demon. Vorlag turning his back on the Primarch, turning his back on the demon prince. No, the chaplain. I charged, not forward, inward, a countercharge against my own. My bone-white Terminators, a wedge of loyalty, slammed into the flank of Uriel's dark green mutineers. Uriel turned his face a mask of joyous, insane realization. Uriel, yes, Vorlag, you see the truth. Join us, purge the false Primarch purge. His voice died. He saw my power fist was not aimed at the lion. It was aimed at him. Vorlag, I see the traitor. My storm bolter roared, tearing one of his bodyguard apart. Captain Boreas's power sword decapitated another. It was a brawl. Brother against brother. The ultimate, final heresy. Uriel, his one good arm raising his crozius, lunged at me. Uriel, you are damned. You have chosen the monster over the... I did not let him finish. I was not a priest. I was not a debater. I was an executioner. I backhanded his crozius away with my storm bolter. My power fist, the hand of judgment, shot forward. It connected not with his head, but with his chest. With the golden crux terminatus that was his badge of honor, the sound was a wet crunch of ceramite and bone. Uriel looked down, his eyes wide, his fanaticism replaced by a cold, final shock. Vorlag leaning in my red eye lenses inches from his skull helm. Your hunt is over. I clenched my fist. The power field ignited. Interrogator Chaplain Uriel did not scream. He simply ceased to be, vaporized in a flash of blue energy. I stood in the epicenter of the betrayal, dripping with the blood of my chaplain. I raised my fist. I opened my vox to the entire chapter. My voice was the only law left. Vorlag, a roar of absolute, new-forged authority. This is Vorlag the traitor. Uriel is dead, all sentinels. All sons of the lion, your Primarch is beside you. Obey him, turn your guns on the word-bearers, close this line. Vorlag VO, I had made the choice. I had killed my past. I had chosen the cold, brutal living god over the warm, comfortable dead one. I turned my honor guard forming around me. I turned to face the demon. Vorlag VO. My order, my fan quiet cut through the chaos. It was not faith, it was a command. And in the face of annihilation, the sentinels, my sentinels, obeyed. The line which had fractured into a dozen confused skirmishes solidified. The dark green armor of my chapter slammed back into formation, their bolters turning as one. They turned from their confusion and faced the crimson tide of the word-bearers. The gap was closing. I turned back to the duel of gods. The lion was bleeding. Black smoking ichor wept from a dozen wounds in his ancient plate. The demon prince was laughing its axe, a whirlwind of warp fire. It had driven the Primarch to one knee. Demon prince gleeful roaring, yes, the father falls, your Imperium of... The lion looked up. His green eyes were not the eyes of a cornered animal. They were the eyes of a hunter who had just set his snare. Lionel Johnson quietly threw the din, "You talk too much." He exploded upwards. It was not a parry. He ducked inside the demon's swing, ignoring the massive axe that grazed his pauldron, sending up a shower of adamantium sparks. He rammed his shoulder into the demon's chest, breaking its stance, and for the first time I saw his other hand, the one that wasn't holding the great sword. It was clenched. He punched the demon prince, a single piston-like blow to its solar plexus. It was not a normal strike. A flash of pale, ethereal light, not the fire of the warp, but the cold, pure light of order enveloped his fist. The demon prince stopped laughing. It looked down. There was no wound, but the light was spreading, crawling over its corrupted flesh like burning ice, neutralizing the warp stuff that gave it form. It was being unmade. The demon looked up at the lion, its eyes wide with a new, dawning, absolute terror. It tried to scream. No sound came out. The lion raised his greatsword in a two-handed grip, and with a single horizontal, contemptuous stroke, he cut the demon prince's head from its shoulders. The body stood for a second, a silent statue of disbelief, before it dissolved into a billion motes of dying, profane light. The warp tear in the sky above snapped shut as if a plug had been pulled. The oppressive, unnatural twilight vanished. The sickly green sun of Xylo's knife returned. The jungle was silent. The remaining word-bearers, their god gone, their apostles dead, their ritual broken, simply stopped. They stood, dumbfounded in the mud. The lion stood over the fading remains of his enemy. He was breathing heavily. He did not look at us. He simply raised his great sword, pointed it at the stunned word-bearers, and gave his next order. "Lionel Johnson." His voice was a rasp of cold exhaustion. "Kill them all. Vorlag VO. It was not a battle. It was a cleansing. My sentinels, their faith in Uriel shattered their faith in the lion, proven by the impossible. They obeyed. They and the few remaining risen fell upon the word-bearers. This was not a war. It was an extermination. I did not join them. I stood by the body of Uriel, or rather the smoking, ruined armor that had contained him. My power fist was caked in his blood, his ceramite, his essence. My honor guard formed a silent, grim circle around me. They were waiting. We were all waiting. The purge took an hour. When it was done, the clearing was a graveyard layered with the crimson of the word-bearers and the dark green of my own chapter and the black of the risen. The mutineers, the last of Uriel's followers, had been cut down in the crossfire, indistinguishable from the loyal. I did not move. I could not. The weight of my choice, the blood on my hands. Finally, I fell to my knees. The servos in my Terminator armor groaned a sound of profound fatigue. I knelt in the mud, surrounded by my dead, my power fist resting on my knee. A shadow fell over me. He was there. The lion. His armor was smoking, the wounds on it already sealing with the slow, patient work of his ancient auto-repairers. He stood before me, his great sword resting on his shoulder. He looked, as he had in the clearing. Weary, ancient. He did not look at my face. He looked at my power fist. He looked at the blood of my chaplain, his own descendant caked onto my gauntlet. He looked at the proof of my sin, the proof of my choice. Vorlag VO, I waited for the judgment, for the absolution, for the curse, for something. A word of praise, a word of condemnation. I had killed my brother to save his flank. I had murdered my past to serve his present. He just looked. His green eyes were as cold and unreadable as the jungle canopy. Finally he spoke. "Lionel Johnson, you did your duty. Vorlag VO. That was all? Not you did well. Not thank you. Not you are forgiven." It was a simple, cold, brutal statement of fact. I had been a broken tool. I had identified my own flaw. I had fixed it. The tool was now functional. He turned away. The remaining risen, perhaps 30 of them survivors of my chapter's betrayal, had gathered. Zaha was dead. Their new leader, the scarred veteran who had mocked my chaplain, stepped up to the lion. The Primarch nodded to him. "Lionel Johnson, we are leaving." "Vorlag," I looked up, my voice a broken rasp. "My lord, what are your orders?" The lion paused. He looked back at me, kneeling in the mud. He looked at my kneeling honor guard. He looked at the scattered, confused remnants of my sentinels standing aimlessly among the corpses. "Lionel Johnson, my orders." He gestured to the dead, to the word-bearers, to Uriel. "Lionel Johnson, your orders are to clean this up, bury your dead, rearm your chapter, and wait. When I have a use for you, for this tool, I will call." He and the Risen turned. They did not look back. They walked into the shadows of the great trees and one by one vanished. Not with teleport flares. They just faded. Back into the forest that had birthed them. I was left alone, utterly. My chapter. My vigilant rock. My faith. All were broken. Captain Boreas approached me, his helmet off his face, pale and lined with a new horror. "Boreas, chapter master, what have we done?" "Vorlag VO." I so slowly pushed myself back to my feet. I looked at my hands. One, the lion's roar, was clean. The other, my power fist, was a testament to my damnation. "Vorlag VO, what had we done?" I looked up at the icon of the lion in my mind. The stained glass saint, the perfect sleeping martyr. I saw his serene, idealized face. And then, I saw the real face, the savage, cold, pragmatic eyes, the sneer of contempt. Vorlag VO, I had met my God. And my God did not want my prayers. He did not want my faith. He did not care for my soul. He cared only for results. He cared for the sharp blade, the correct tactic, and the win. All else, all our 10,000 years of ritual, of honor, of purpose, was just noise. The disillusionment was absolute. It was a baptism in ice. I was not saved. I was conscripted. I turned to Boreas. He was looking for a chapter master, for a priest, for a leader. He would not find one. I unsealed my helmet. I let it fall into the mud. The fetid jungle air was the only real thing left. Boreas and the rituals, my lord, the rites of absolution for the fallen. Vorlag, looking at him, my eyes as empty as the sky. There will be no rites. I began to walk towards the landing zone, my footsteps heavy. Vorlag VO, my hunt was over. I was no longer a sentinel of the rock guarding a museum of the past. I was no longer a hunter of ghosts. The ghost had been exorcised with my own hand. Vorlag VO, I was a weapon, a simple, bare, cold tool, waiting in the dark, not for a prayer to be answered, but for a hand to pick me up and point me at the next target. It was a victory. It had saved my chapter. It had saved the sector. Vorlag VO, and it was the end of my soul.